Hey guys, and welcome to the channel. This is All of the Movies, where we discuss all of the movies. My name is Emily, and I am co-host here with Erinn. And today we are going to be discussing in full Catch Me If You Can. It stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hanks, and Christopher Walken. So thanks for watching, and let's get into it.
So let's talk Catch Me If You Can. When's the last time you saw this movie? So let's get some context.
Oh man, the last time I saw Catch Me If You Can was with my dad when I was in high school.
So the movie's released in 2002, so that would have been 4 years before I was in high school. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't remember it being like a new movie when I saw it the first time, so it definitely wasn't in 2002. I believe at that point I was still swooning over Leonardo DiCaprio as the little what's-his-face in Growing Pains.
Never seen Growing Pains.
Oh my goodness. It's like talking to a brick wall sometimes.
I remember the only time, actually, you know what? I probably only saw it once before, because the only time that I remember watching it was with my dad. It was like raining outside, and he was like, "Oh, this is a fantastic movie. Gotta watch it."
Do you concur?
I was like, "Okay." So, so we watched it, and I was just like laying on the living room floor, and I remember really, really liking it.
I don't remember liking it as much as I did watching it this time. Like I truly enjoyed this movie.
But I still remember like I thought that I would have like forgotten little details watching it now, because it has been since like sophomore year in high school. But watching it, I was like, oh, I remember everything.
Yeah, so like from a detail perspective, I think I appreciated the nuances much more seeing it as an adult than when I was even a teenager. And I don't like some of the minor characters that were in there, like Jennifer Garner.
How much would you pay?
I didn't remember her being in it. Ellen Pompeo.
Are you my deadhead?
Didn't remember her being in it. Like
Adams.
Got your braces off. Here,
I've been trying to show you all night.
Wow.
yeah.
And Elizabeth Banks.
Oh yeah, and Elizabeth Banks too. Yeah, she's one of the bank tellers. Like, and Amy Adams had a big part. And even when she came on screen, and her and Jennifer Garner too, and Ellen Pompeo, like those three women, and I was like, what? Man, I love con movies.
Mm-hmm.
I love them. Even TV shows like White Collar with Matt Bomer.
Hey, hon.
Hi, hon.
Great to see you.
Which is actually based off this movie. Well, this story, yeah, it's based off of Frank Abagnale Jr.
But actually, this is, Neil Caffrey. Are you an agent too?
No, I wish I was. I'm just a consultant.
So how does that work?
Actually, I'm a criminal.
A criminal?
Yeah, because watching the movie last night, I was like, this is really a lot like White Collar. They have to be related, like, because White Collar came out way after this movie did. But yeah, so the book was written in, I think I read 1980 something, 1980 or 89. I can't remember now specifically. The movie came out in 2002. Then they made a Broadway musical called Catch Me If You Can.
Life in living color.
And then the TV show White Collar came out, which was like loosely based on Frank Abagnale's character, like Neil Caffrey, the character that Matt Bomer plays. But it wasn't like the story. It wasn't his story. It was just like a loose.
It's not check fraud in that one. It's like art or something like that.
That's what I mean. It wasn't like specifically check fraud. It was more like all encompassing. Yeah, but the thing that made me think that there had to have been a connection was because Neil Caffrey escapes from prison, and then the FBI he gets released into FBI custody and works, right? And so that it was just that one piece of the story that they really like took from, you know, the story of Frank Abagnale. But yeah.
No, don't be modest, Peter. You caught me twice, and you can send me back anytime you want.
I'm gonna go talk in my office.
Okay.
So I just those
this movie is probably one of my favorite cat and mouse type movies because it's just done so well. And how they I actually did like the use of flashback in this one. You know, they start out in the jail and you know, Leonardo DiCaprio is coughing, and then a French jail or something like that.
Yeah, looking very much like the Iron Mask.
I know. I had the exact same thought, you know, and then they go back to like how it started. And I really liked that. And then like they'll jump forward a little bit, but then go back. So the majority of the story is done in flashback, which sometimes movies can't do that, or like they jump back and forth way too much, and then it's just
it breaks the not the continuity, but almost a little. It just breaks the pacing up too much, I think, when they're trying to establish the story. And I think that happens most of the time when a movie fails at doing that. It's when they're trying to run two concurrent timelines rather than, you know, sticking to the timeline that happened in the past with some, you know, things from the current in there, or from the current and just a few flashbacks thrown in. Like, I feel like movies fail when they try and run two parallel timelines, you know, at the same time. But this movie, yeah, I think it succeeded very well in kind of just relating that stuff that was happening, you know, in the present with the story that was happening in the past.
right, because it's not one of those movies. I mean, it's based on real life, so you could do your own research and realize that he got caught. So, you know, it's not like a big reveal. So they offered up, you know, that he did get caught. Although it's funny because he gets caught a couple of times, and it's ingenious, like how he gets out of it.
Type in 5 seconds.
Shut up!
Pop out the ball.
Put your hands on your head! Put your head!
You know, he's got over 200 checks here.
Hands
of indie
on
ink,
your head!
Drafting. He even has little payroll envelopes
Put it down.
addressed to himself. From
Put it down! Drop it!
Relax. You're late, all right? My name's Alan, Barry Allen, United States Secret Service. Your boy just tried to jump out the window. My partner has him in custody.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What, you think the FBI are the only ones on this guy?
Mm-hmm.
And Leonardo DiCaprio, and I think everybody probably agrees that, where's all of his Oscars?
That's good.
That's good. Tell me what you want me to see, huh?
Oh man, I just can't, like, every movie I see him in and rewatch just compounds the fact that he should have had an Oscar way before The Revenant. Like, way before. He should be like Meryl Streep level Oscar winner at least, because you know what? He's probably been in just as many Oscar movies, and he's been nominated a bunch. I don't know the numbers, but I know he's been nominated a ton, and he just never wins.
He's all on par. Like, he's been really good for such a long time. All of his performances, like, he's a great actor.
Well, he's been a great actor since he was a kid. What's Eating Gilbert Grape? Like,
my mom wants me to become 18, and I'm having a big party in Gilbert.
Yep.
When is that party coming?
6 days.
6 days is my party, and I'm coming 18. I'm 18, and you're not invited.
and even
Romeo plus Juliet.
yeah, Romeo plus Juliet.
Rise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon, who is already sick and pale with grief that thou, our maid, art far more fair than she.
But maybe that's the one that's like one of his not best. But that movie was just, I love that movie. That movie holds a special place in my heart.
I think that movie is kind of set apart from any of his other movies because it's a William Shakespeare play that's using exact Old English.
That was, I think, part of the brilliance of that movie to me. Like, I don't know.
Talk about bizarre. That's a bizarre movie.
Yeah. I really, really, like, total segue here. This is going to be another one where we're not even talking about the movie anymore. But Romeo and Juliet, like that. So when I was a freshman in high school at G-Star, right? So film school. Mm-hmm. So a freshman year in high school, I had English. What was I taking? English 2 honors, English 1 honors. And my teacher, Miss Young, total hippie, short little lady, like just the most awkward person ever. And every book we read that year, we would also watch the movie counterpart. I don't know if that's like a thing that they did at G-Star just because of the film school. So they although they did do that often in classes, they would like pull in the film element. But yeah, we watched every single version of Romeo and Juliet that has ever been made. Like every single one. From the Romeo looks exactly like Zac Efron. Look it up. Like exactly the same. All the way through Shakespeare in Love with Gwyneth Paltrow, which is an Oscar winner. Did you know that?
Better Finney's brother.
Yeah, agreed. Completely agreed. Yeah, Joseph. Much better, much preferred over Ralph. Yeah. But yeah, so that
who shall not be named.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's right. I do get that reference, even though I've never seen Harry Potter. Like I just still get that reference.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was just one of those things. Like Romeo and Juliet, that one always stood apart for me. I don't even remember what we were talking about now.
That
Leonardo DiCaprio, yeah, and his prowess and how has he never won an Oscar?
Yeah, you know why he won an Oscar for The Revenant?
Because there were like 5 lines in it.
No, because they felt sad that he actually like
slept
with a dead horse.
Yeah,
they're like okay, give
like you really deserve it. We get it. You want an Oscar. We get it.
You ate raw meat and threw it back up while being recorded. Like
Django Unchained. That's another one. Like, how did he not win an Oscar for that? I can't stand that movie, but I can still appreciate the acting in that movie. Like, that's one of my least favorite movies I've ever seen. I can't stand it. But Kerry Washington and Jamie Foxx and Leonardo DiCaprio and
Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, and Samuel L. Jackson and Christoph Waltz. Yeah. Like the acting in that movie was superb. And I love I could talk about that movie for hours that movie makes me angry because I should like it.
Put it on the list.
We probably should, just because I saw it with my brother. I've only seen it one time. I refused to watch it because it made me angry. Like I had a visceral reaction to that movie.
Oh wow.
Because I disliked it so much, and it's a movie that I shouldn't dislike because
it's so good.
But yeah, the thing that frustrates, well, whatever. We're not talking about that movie. We're talking about Catch Me If You Can. So, okay, so Catch Me If You Can, yeah. This movie came out in 2002, based on the book, same title. So I was doing some research on it because I like this whole based on a true story thing that was going on. But normally, the based on a true stories are, they take them, they take licenses and they embellish and they, creative license. So I wanted to see if there was anything that I could find from Frank Abagnale Jr., who's the actual guy, the character in the movie, if I could find anything from the real Frank Abagnale. So he was in the movie. He had like a little cameo. He's the
guy.
no, he's the cop who arrests him in France. So the silver-headed police officer in France, that's the real Frank Abagnale Jr. So he had some like, I love when they do that, when they throw a little credence to the people who were like the real live counterparts or whatever. But he himself said that the movie was actually 80% true to story. And he took embellishments and creative licenses in his book for multiple reasons. Like in his book, the FBI agent who captured him was not, he had a different name. He gave him a different name because the FBI agent was still with the FBI. Right. So Tom Hanks' character in the movie is not Carl. His name or his character doesn't actually exist. It was a like an amalgamation of all of the FBI agents who had tried to catch Frank Abagnale over the years.
You do not feel sorry for me. The truth is, I knew it was you. Now, maybe I didn't get the cuffs on you, but I knew.
So his character doesn't actually exist. But the fact that Frank Abagnale was released into the custody of the FBI and became friends with, the guy who actually ended up capturing him, all of that is true.
Right.
It's just the cop's name wasn't Carl. It was like John O'Shea or something like that.
Oh man. Okay. So going through this movie, just like what you said, you got to pick up more on the nuances of it and whatnot. And I mean, that's definitely true. This is a movie that you probably want and need to see a couple of times.
People only know what you tell them, Carl.
Yeah. I think the more times you see it, I think the more is going to resonate. It's not one that if you only watch it one time, you're gonna like be missing out. This movie is one where if you see it multiple times, you will catch on to things. You will catch up with things that you might not have noticed had you seen the movie the first time. But it's also not the kind of movie where things are hidden, where like if you don't watch it more than one time, you're not going to get the entire, like it's out there.
So one of those things that I noticed was he ran away when his parents got divorced. That was like the catalyst. Up until then, he was a little con artist, pretending to be the French substitute.
That was awesome.
Well, I always sub for Roberto. Excuse me, why aren't you reading? Jewels on...
I'll never come back to Bellamy Jefferson again. You tell them not to call me. What do they think? It's easy for a woman my age and all the money that it costs to travel? Like
holding the note,
and you kind of see in those first glimpses, like how they set his character up is really well done because it shows that he idolizes his father, and his father is kind of a sweet talker, really good with talking and whatnot. And he, because like when he comes back into the living room, he just pauses and he watches his parents and, that kind of stuff. Like he idolizes his dad.
My son, the Birdman, some uniform, Frank.
What do you think?
And his dad kind of commends him for for getting in trouble for being the substitute teacher.
Yeah, they're very buddy.
Yeah,
which is something that they did take license with in the film. I found out that's not actually. Yeah, apparently, according to the true story, like had they stuck to the actual way things had happened, you barely would have seen his father because he wasn't in touch with him at all as an adult.
No postcards?
No postcards. Nope, that didn't happen. Nope. No postcards. Yeah. They because who directed this, he decided that he needed to have the father in there as kind of a like a guiding, grounding kind of character, and it just artistically it made more sense, which I think he's right. I think without the father or without that character being the person that that Frank needs to like prove himself to, or we're gonna get it all back, Dad. Like, you know, I'm gonna do everything I can to fix everything that went wrong so you can get Mom back and do all these things. Like without that, the movie maybe falls a little flatter. I don't know.
Are you giving me a Cadillac? I'm giving you a Cadillac. Dad, she's parked downstairs. When we're done eating lunch, why don't you drive on over to Mom's house, pick her up, take a little joyride?
Yeah, no, I would completely agree, because that's what I was about to say, is I really liked that, you know, he had that relationship with his dad, and he was creating this, you know, person and reporting back to his dad, like, I'm doing fine, I'm doing well enough to give you a Cadillac. I absolutely agree that if they did not have that in there, his character wouldn't have had the human like
Yeah, I don't know that you root for him to like keep going or keep the con going if he doesn't have like a reason for it. Yeah, because you know, normally when and I think I've mentioned this before, but when a movie is written about, or the character, the protagonist is not like a good person, having those human elements or those things, those redeeming factors that make you root for them anyway, in spite of the fact that they are, you know, a criminal, and the entire movie is about them being chased by law enforcement, where in most cases you would probably be like, yeah, get that guy. Like, if they made a movie about Bernie Madoff, like nobody's rooting for Bernie Madoff.
Robert De Niro is Madoff.
Oh, I didn't see that. I'll have to watch that.
Yeah, no, what's her face? Catwoman.
Anne Hathaway or Halle Berry?
No.
Well,
don't even associate Anne Hathaway.
She's just the last. She's the most recent one. Are you talking about Halle Berry?
No.
Oh, Michelle Pfeiffer?
Yes.
I'm just was going back chronologically. Goodness.
When I think of Catwoman, I think of Michelle Pfeiffer, because she is the best Catwoman ever.
I agree. I just was like, you know.
Anne Hathaway is.
And no, Anne Hathaway was not a good Catwoman.
Oh, don't even get me started on that.
And I like Anne Hathaway. That was unfortunate.
No, I really like Anne Hathaway, but she's not a Catwoman. Anyways, Michelle Pfeiffer is his wife.
Oh. I'll have to watch that. That sounds interesting. Do you root for him?
No.
Yeah, but that's my point.
But
the guy was scum.
But they turn it like 3/4 of the way through. It's so sad. You have so much empathy for the guy.
Empathy is different. But when you've got a movie like, I'm trying to think of a good example. Well, this movie, but even one where it's like the Fast and the Furious franchise, right? Like, not only are they criminals, but they get violent. There's murder, and you're still rooting for them to get away from the cops. And then they start working with the cops, and then it's like this whole other thing.
And
But
then Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson just takes over the franchise and has spin-offs.
What the Rock is cooking.
Whatever. I'm still gonna
like
see
a
that
rant
movie,
video
but
now.
yeah, Calvin and Hobbes, right? Isn't that the one that's coming out?
But Catch Me If You Can.
Goodness, can we just stick to the subjects? And we're getting worse at this.
So this is all of the movies.
Right. Good point. Good point. We're just doing what we said we would do.
For one movie, you're in the wrong place. We're going to be talking about all of the movies.
Right.
So,
in every single view.
yeah. Anyways, one of my favorite parts in this film, I'm just going to say my favorite scene is when they're in Miami and it's the first time that Tom Hanks catches him, and he's in the hotel room and he's like, come out of the bathroom. And how they directed that, like they brought it over, and Leonardo DiCaprio opens that bathroom door and he's just as chill as can be. He walks out and he's just like, oh yeah, he got checks, he got
too late.
And, and he just goes on, like, and he's like, can you get that out of my face? I'm like, Secret Service, you're kind of make me nervous. And then he walks forward with Tom Hanks in the back, and you can, like, he's like, I'm gonna drink some water, I'm gonna drink that. And then he goes right back into character. And so I thought that shot was just so good because it shows like Tom Hanks's character, it shows as Leonardo DiCaprio's character of like, he's been pretending to be so many different people that he can just be like, okay, what's the plan? Here's the plan. I'm this person. And he just goes out there and rolls with it. And then like, but he's also, drinking the water because he's like, oh.
That was one of the best scenes in the movie. I agree.
So good. And then Tom Hanks sits down and he's like, Secret Service, looks at the wallet, starts going through the wallet, and he's like, ow.
It runs out the window, and Leonardo DiCaprio is just like hoofing it down the street. Yeah.
No.
Their chemistry on camera was superb.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a really good job as scene partners. All of the things where they interacted was really well done.
Yeah, no, this movie, there's not really a lot to critique in a bad way. The acting was really good.
There's one thing in this movie that is like just an unashamed just
accents.
Tom Hanks' accent in this movie.
I knew it.
Is an affront to accents everywhere.
So does it bother you, Mr. Embers?
It is the worst accent. Is it Chicago? Is it Boston? Is it Tom Hanks trying to be Walt Disney? Like,
New Yorker, yeah.
It is awful.
Does it bother you, Mr. Fox?
And the only thing that I could think, because Tom Cruise is a brilliant actor, or Tom Hanks. Tom Cruise is awful. Tom Hanks. I can't even, the words, like, I didn't even get, like, I got it out and heard it immediately. A lot of the times that wouldn't happen, but it was like, that just wasn't right.
I would call that a Freudian slip.
Yeah, no, Freud was discredited on most fronts. So that is, no. Tom Hanks is a brilliant actor. Tom Cruise is a brilliant troll. Tom Hanks is a brilliant actor. He's never been known for like his strength when it comes to accents because they all just basically sound like Tom Hanks. Mm-hmm. But this one was so bad. It was so bad. Knock, knock.
Knock, knock.
Like it was so bad.
Knock, knock.
There are no words.
Go f*** yourselves.
It needs to be on a list of worst accents in movies ever.
It probably is.
This movie that we're currently reviewing, that we've reviewed like 3 things because we can't stop talking about other movies. But yeah, Tom Hanks' accent is absolute trash in this movie. His acting, however, is really good.
Other than that, there's not really much you could critique about this.
No, a lot of the things like, and normally there are like continuity errors that I pick up on and stuff, and there weren't really any that I picked up on, or that I could pick up on just on sight alone, which is what I would refer a continuity error as. However, I was like reading on IMDb and stuff, and there was a lot of issues with, because it's supposed to be set so many decades back, and it was filmed current, that some of the logos were off and stuff like that. But who's going to even pay attention to that?
Oh,
like it's like the Pan Am logo. The Pan Am logo was wrong and all of that stuff, but because it was their current logo and not their 1960s logo.
They said something. Oh man, I should have wrote it down. But they said something that I was like, I don't think that they would make that reference back then, because I don't think that would have been a reference back then.
I unsub.
Well, no.
That wasn't a term in the 60s. The FBI didn't coin that term until 70 something. I was reading it unsub.
Right. Yeah, so that one, yeah, if you've seen Criminal Minds, which I've seen all of them, I love that. Okay, anyways, but yeah,
That's a TV show that is not allowed on this channel.
whatever. They should make a movie.
That would be good. They better get Shamar Moore in it though, otherwise I won't go see it.
It's really sad what happened to that because, anyways, off topic.
Way off topic.
Yeah, so I'm pretty much done. I liked this movie. I will say another one of my favorite scenes, because this movie has a lot of just really, really good scenes and quotable scenes. One of them is when he's the doctor and he has to go into the ER.
You concur. I should have concurred. Why didn't I just concur?
Why didn't I concur?
I've said that before. If someone like, I should have just concurred. Nobody ever gets it because it's such a weird reference. But
no, okay. So I, funny because me and my sister Rebecca, we do this to each other, but we're always like, "Do you concur?" Like we. Anyways, it's this weird thing, but it's from that movie. And so we're like quoting the movie and like, instead of being normal people and be like, "Oh, do you agree with this or whatever?" We'll be like, "Do you concur?
Do you concur?
Do you concur?" And,
yeah.
So this one person asked me, "Do you concur?" And I was like, "I love that movie."
And they had no clue what you were talking about.
What? I was like, "Not Catch Me If You Can?" And they're like, "Never seen it." I was like,
Would you been living under a rock for your whole life?
I felt so just like,
yeah, no, that's bad. That scene,
I was so excited. I was like, because I've never heard anybody like quote that part of that movie. I love that scene.
Yeah, that scene is fantastic. That scene and the one in the courthouse.
Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this is irrefutable evidence that the defendant is in fact lying.
For the judge is like, this is pre-trial, whatever. There is no defendant and there is no jury. What is wrong with you?
There is no defendant. There is no jury. Son, what in the hell is wrong with you?
I laughed so hard because he's trying so hard. And I think one of the things that I get from this movie, and it's a running theme throughout the movie, at least for his character, is that he's kind of obsessed with not just the con, but with having someone to become, with a persona or the name of a thing. You see it kind of with his little tick of taking the labels off of things. And saving them and reusing them however he can. He's obsessed with taking the identity of something. And I think it goes back to, this is getting kind of deep, but I think it goes back to the very beginning where the lawyer asks him to write down the name of the parent he wants to live with. Yeah. And that is the straw that breaks the camel's back, as it were, where he just he runs away. Like he can't. And from that point on, he spends his entire life trying to adapt to some kind of identity. Who is he? What's his name? What's his profession? All of these things. But the fact that he tries to learn all of these, characteristics by watching TV shows is fantastic, because that's a true thing. Like someone will be talking about some medical something or whatever reference, and
in the house.
Yeah, and so it's impossible for me to not be like, oh, that's a pancreatectomy, and oh, blah blah blah, and oh, a Whipple, and oh, are you in med school? No, it's Grey's Anatomy. That's it is. That's what happens. You just kind of become a sponge, and you soak up the entertainment that you watch and you read and you listen to, whatever. But I enjoyed that they brought that kind of element into the storyline.
The little details like that of how he's the learning process. Like he'll learn the phrases to use. So when he was in the pilot cockpit,
Yeah, the jump seat.
You're like,
Yeah.
what equipment do you know? And then it's like, what is this? What is that? And he like comes back and he's like,
I'm jumping puddles for the next few months, trying to earn my keep running leapfrogs for the weak and weary.
No shame in that. We all did it.
Yeah, 707. Oh, I'm up there for blah, 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 blah. Yeah, and that was, you notice, though, that that's the only one where he got it right. So, like, as the doctor, he says, the lines that he learned or whatever from the TV show, he says them, but they are not helping him. And then, and then he goes as an attorney and he says the lines that he learned, but he, it fails miserably because there is no defendant and there is no jury and it's at the complete wrong time. And he's even past the bar at that point. Like, he actually is an intelligent guy who could easily, do this job, but it's the con, and it's just brilliant. I loved it. Yeah.
Now, speaking of, Tom Hanks's character wants to know, how did you cheat on the bar? And I love, because he's still a con artist at heart, and so he's like, can I have?
Yeah, you share your care and I'll tell you. Yeah.
But how he does it is very con artist-y. He sets up, like, are you gonna eat that? Like, he doesn't ask him what he wants. He's just like, he wants to see if he can get him to part with half of it. Something he wants. Like, his little brain is working of like, he doesn't want to give me that eclair, but maybe he'll give me half.
And it's only when Carl, or Tom Hanks's character, is able to con him that he's able to actually catch him.
It's definitely a good time movie.
Yeah, it's a good time movie. It's one that can be, I think, watched multiple times. It's got some pretty significant themes in the movie, but it's not one that is like nowhere near as heavy as Shawshank or even Hell or High Water, which is the other like kind of criminally movie that we've watched so far. But Catch Me If You Can is the movie that we should have been talking about this whole time. And there is one other thing that I wanted to bring up about this before we vote, or not vote, before we say like what our...
You're off the island.
Yeah, you're off the island. Before we give our... What is it? Why vote?
Score.
Great, score before we score the movie. That sounds weird too. Yeah. So the last thing that I wanted to point out is the use of the before credits in this movie. It's not often done anymore, where credits are done like this prior to. They're normally the vast credits, like the long ones, are done at the end of the movie. But in this movie, the credits were extended to kind of show more of the people who were involved in the movie. And I think that they only needed that so that they could use the time that the credits needed to run. And if you look closely at the story that is depicted with the little caricatures during the credits, it is exactly like down to the most minute details what you then watch in the movie. It's really? Exactly the same. Yeah. That's adorable. And that was done on purpose. And so I just thought that was really cool that they added that little, like, that detail in there. And I thought that was really interesting use of the credits, because credits are normally like uber boring, and they kind of took a James Bondy, kind of twist.
Okay. Let's end on the good note of our scores.
Of this formula genre movie?
Yes. And I'm going to stick to my formula and give this movie
an A.
Bag of popcorn.
No, it gets a large bag of popcorn from me too. I can't give it a collector's edition, just 100% solely based on Tom Hanks' accent.
Knock, knock.
But yeah, Yeah, so that's Catch Me If You Can. Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hanks, a bunch of people we didn't know were in it. Amy Adams, Jennifer Garner, Ellen Pompeo. What was her face?
I forgot that Christopher Walken was in it.
Christopher Walken.
I totally forgot that. I was like, oh, right, it's his dad.
Yeah, Christopher Walken, Elizabeth Banks, all those guys. But yeah, definitely go watch it. It's not on Netflix, but it's available. YouTube.
You can rent it for $3.99. That's what I did.
Yeah, I rented it on iTunes.
Nice.
Definitely worth a $3.99 rental though.
But you own it?
No. I rented it on iTunes.
No, but you have the DVD case for it.
Nope.
Don't you?
Nope.
Oh. Really thought you did.
What is our next movie that we're watching?
I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be Lawrence of Arabia, but neither one of us wanted to really watch that movie. We should do The Happening.
Yeah.
We should totally do.
What I was thinking is like
We
an
should totally do The Happening or The Day After Tomorrow or one of those like apocalyptic movies. I agree, because that one's like the earth is revolting.
Right, because I like The Day After Tomorrow, and I feel like we've done so many movies that we like. So
You don't like The Happening? We can't be friends anymore. Yeah, I'm gonna put a poster up of the movie that we decide to watch next week because we don't want to watch Lawrence of Arabia, and that's just all there is to it. Hey guys, it's Erinn. Thanks for watching our review of Catch Me If You Can. We are going to be reviewing next week The Happening. I put a poster up earlier. We had some change of plans because, like we said in the video, we don't want to watch Lawrence of Arabia. We will get to it at some point. We just, it's our channel, so we're going to do what we want. Anyway, in the meantime, subscribe to the channel. Make sure the bell icon is ticked off so that you're notified whenever we upload new content. Make sure to check out Emily's trailer reaction video to the new Star Wars movie. I'll link it here in the video, and we will see you guys next time. Bye. Oh, other fun fact about this movie, just because it just popped into my brain, and now I lost it. Frank Abagnale, so the character is a con man, right? Everybody knows this because we've been talking about it, but he pretends to be a pilot for Pan Am, which is founded by the pilot that Leonardo DiCaprio's character plays in The Aviator. So just little degrees of separation. I can't remember the guy's name, the pilot's name. It's like Harry or Henry or something like that. But yeah, just a little fun fact. Movies are all incestual like that, so.